Oh, my tummy of death where no hunger escapes. This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier, and I am joined by the astounding Neil Ewing. Wow!
You write something on my face?
Neil, how are you?
What's up, Dan?
It's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, dude, ditto.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time I saw you was at Dink.
Yeah, probably
Like
5 years ago. I'm kidding.
I was like 2019. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh man. So how you been? Yeah, you're doing amazing things these days. A lot
Thanks.
of toys.
I'm good. I've been like shut in my house and just been working on making toys and making art.
Cool.
Kind of download drawing comics, keeping that on the DL, and then making toys. Kind of like doing consulting for toys and making soft vinyl toys.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. For our viewers, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and how you got into comics and making art and toys and collectibles.
I'm from a town called Lamar, Colorado. It's like this place kind of by Kansas, by Oklahoma, on the plains of Colorado. I grew up there on a farm, kind of in a trailer park, and my grandparents had a hay farm. And I kind of lived all around Colorado, kind of floating between my parents. And I went to Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design in 2002.
Nice.
And then was kind of like in the music scene, Rhinoceropolis, and the creative scene in Denver with, and also Denver Drink and Draw and those creative people.
Wow.
And just kind of have, and I kind of make comics and toys and do consulting and stuff.
Man, that's cool. So I had no idea that our paths could have, potentially crossed much earlier. I'm a graduate of Rocky Mountain back in 2000, and Rhinoceropolis used to be my neighbor.
Yeah, you did Odom Femud at what was then Glob.
Yep, yeah.
And it's called Glob because there were globe stickers
on
the door, like 2 or 3 of them, and somebody cut the E's off.
Yep.
And then the globe skate stickers became the name of Glob.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. John took that place over. I used to live there, and we used to have like back in the early days, we had a machine pyrotechnics group that also my buddy Zach used to use that warehouse space.
Yeah.
And then that was Moto Man Project. They're still around.
Yeah, the Moto Man Project. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember getting a lot of like information about Odom Femud, the samurai fighting theater.
That was us.
I remember following you on Facebook, and
I
think I saw you once or twice, and like I was like, what is this? This is crazy. But it's very much in the vein of kind of what the early aught, late 90s Denver was like. I think that it's totally different now as to what it used to be.
Yeah, most definitely. It's the creative scene is especially back then. It seemed like was really fun. It was like the Wild West in a way, like actual Wild West. Yes, you had like festivals like Tit Ranch and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And you had some really cool underground things going on, and a lot of those venues now, after all the remodeling and gentrification of Brighton Boulevard, a lot of that stuff has kind of gone away.
yeah.
Still a lot of amazing creative things going on, but that danger,
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
yeah. Unless you go to an Itch.io marching band show,
yeah. True. Yeah, yeah.
Man, that's cool. So it's so fun to to hear that we have a lot of similar paths. At RimCAD, what was your major there?
I did fine art. I
Cool.
I wanted to stay kind of within the range of home. Thought about going to Cal Arts a lot.
Cool.
But RemCAD kind of like they gave me a little money, and my mom was like, "You should probably go here." And my GPA was hella low, and they were like one of the few places that would actually take my dumb ass. And I was like, "All right." And when I got there, like, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like,
Yeah.
um, I wanted to make toys. Like I went to college too,
Yeah.
but RemCAD didn't have shit. Like they didn't teach silicone casting. They didn't teach anything, So I ended up going into fine art and studying under Clark Reichert. And
Oh yeah, Clark's awesome. Yeah, he just passed away too.
yeah, R.I.P. Clark Reichert. I went
Yeah.
to his closing. I saw a lot of my friends there. I have a lot of friends that kind of really, I don't know. He taught us a lot, Even
Yeah.
me, like I don't do anything in the realm of what like Clark,
Dude, yeah.
his deal. Like, but still, like so much of Clark is in what I do because of like the mentality that he put into like what he was teaching us about like
Yeah.
the cycles of life and understanding that it's more important than ever to how you speak of art and how you talk to
Yeah.
each other about, that was kind of like what I went to college for, was like how to properly talk about art and like how to like not necessarily be like positive but
Mm.
not negative, kind of like so that people can grow and like be better off, with the things they're making, and be honest and realistic about what we're doing.
Yeah. The language of articulation
Yeah.
was huge. It was I also got that from Chuck Parson on the
Chuck Parson. Yeah. Yeah. I never had him,
Oh,
but I spoke with him a lot. My friends loved
cool,
him.
cool.
I know his son,
Yeah,
Colin,
Colin, he's awesome.
and
Yeah,
yeah, he went to Mesa State. He taught in Mesa State. I remember there was
great.
like a vast exodus of teachers from Rocky Mountain, kind of when it started to become more like, you know, um, but I mean, art school is like this thing that's hard to kind of quantify at this point.
True, true. Very much so. I think now, they're focusing on like, media as in popular media, so video games, animation, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I work with a lot of animators these days, but that's cool that we've got that we've got that similar pathway. What was it that made you get into comic books?
You know, I'm neuroatypical. Like I don't really have a um there's certain things I kind of understand in the world and certain things I don't.
Mhm.
So like being like that kind of person as a young person in the middle of nowhere,
Mm.
um, I wasn't good at reading. I didn't,
Okay.
I can't do math.
Yeah.
Certain, I don't listen for the most part. Like there are certain things I block out, right? Because it's just who I am.
Right.
When you you know deal with that kind of stuff. So like comic books, I remember just them being a way for me to be able to concentrate, to like escape, to be interested in things. And you know, being a kid and not being good at the shit that, you know, everybody's like really pressing you to, you know,
Right.
this is how you get validation. Like how parents and teachers, the validation that they want you to seek from them, you know, I wasn't getting.
Right.
If anything, I was getting like negative attention for having behavioral issues. But the kids around me, the validation I did get was because I had, you know, I could draw. I had comics, like I could draw
Yeah.
Spider-Man, you know, I could that. And so kids, my peers were like, this is tight.
Yeah.
And I was constantly getting in trouble for drawing or reading comics, like
Right.
from first grade to my senior in high school. You know, I took fucking algebra 3 times in high school. Like I
Oh.
was
Mhm.
not good at
Yeah.
school. So comics were like the only, like, my mom knew at a certain point that like when I
Yeah.
was getting D's in third grade and shit, my mom knew like that there was kind of one path for me, and
Right.
it was to kind of push art and comics and shit like that. She called every toy I ever had a He-Man.
Okay.
You know, she'd be like, "Oh, these are your He-Man," you know?
Right. Right.
Like, "Mom, this is not a He-Man," you know? But
Yeah.
it was tight, you know?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's actually kind of frightening how similar our paths are because, yeah, in third grade, I got held back. I was drawing all the time. I wasn't doing my homework. I would draw on my homework. And then my dad finally realized, oh, maybe I should just bring home, because he's an accountant, bring home stacks of like, those, computer print paper with the,
Some of the rings on the sides.
exactly,
Yeah.
just tons of those. And so I didn't know what those were necessarily. So I was like, okay, they're all attached. They're all supposed to be attached. So I just made life size. Well, life size for me was my size Transformers. I would draw them out
Yes.
and they would fold out and I would give them to friends and stuff. And they're like, okay, that's great, but you still got to do your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. Looks like our friend Angela just chimed in. She says, hi, Neil. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Angela.
Angela's one of our sponsors. She's also a film producer, too. So,
Cool.
yeah. Um, yeah, it sounds like we've got a lot of similar paths or similar backgrounds anyway, that we've followed. You know, I I know you from the obviously tabling at Dink and everything, and my girlfriend is a big fan of your comics because she thinks they're just absolutely hilarious and adorable. Um, but of course with your toys, seeing you pop up, with those, how did you learn you yeah to sculpt and mold make, especially since like Rocky Mountain at the time really wasn't offering that for you.
Like the sculpting thing was just like literally like 1992. My mom bought Super Sculpey,
Oh, okay, cool.
like, and really wanting to do that. That like I really was toy obsessed from the 80s. You know, like if you
Yeah.
can tell,
Yep. Yep.
like
Look,
my
you got an
life
amazing
is
background.
objects. Like
Yeah.
I was really toy obsessed, and like a lot of that. I remember Wizard Magazine had like a make your own action figure section that where you could like
Oh,
customize action figures and take pictures and shit. And I always would do that. I would like take really shitty Polaroids.
wow.
These, I wish I
Yep.
hadn't chopped apart all of my action figures like the Toy Biz X-Men and shit. But then too, I think that was essential to like my understanding of like bootlegging
Yeah.
and kit bashing, where you take multiple toys and you combine them together. And the mold making thing kind of came later on. I had done it before, but not seriously. And then
Okay.
I just kind of Googled a bunch and used YouTube and got a hold of the people at Smooth On and drove down there and then spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to, get better.
Yeah.
And eventually I did. And then after about a decade of kind of just working on those kind of things, like I started out making like smaller things about 6 years ago,
Okay.
and trying to sell them
Yeah.
before I was kind of working on it. They weren't very good. And then I was like, I want to make big, dumb toys, and that was like the thing. And then finally I got in contact with some people in Japan that made sofubi, and sofubi is like a Japanese short term for soft vinyl.
Okay.
And there's like a long history of this art form in designer toys. And, just like in comics, you go to things, you support people, you buy shit, you talk to people, and you find your place. And through that, I was able to make soft vinyl toys, and it's pretty much all like kind of the same hat as what I've always done. Like even like with the Peaceways comics or like anything, like I've never really been taught to do anything like class wise besides like going to college and learning how to speak on art. Like I've just always kind of done the shit myself. So like just like with Peaceway, somebody was like, "You should draw comics," and I was like, "Nah, man." And then I think Scorpio Steel was like, "I dare you to draw
Scorpio.
comics. You should draw this comic." And that was what became Peaceways. And my wife was like, "You should make a toy of our dog." And I made a toy of our little dog, and like that became, this toy that kind of runs my business. This little dog is basically the toy that my business is all based around now because I sell the most of these little dogs.
Oh,
It's
nice.
just a little dog, a little soft vinyl dog.
Yeah.
That is made in Japan, and I sculpted this out of Sculpey, and here's the mold. It's just like there's the mold of the body.
Wow. Okay.
And then where's the head at? Oh, there's the head. And there's the head.
The head rolled. Okay, cool.
And these are called dump molds. You pour in the resin, and then you pull, it cures, and you pull it out.
Nice.
And it's just kind of like that, it's just kind of, I don't know. I've never really had the inhibition of fear, I think, because I don't have like a normal impulse control.
Okay.
So I just do shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works out.
That's so cool. Yeah. From there you've moved on to some other, amazing art toys, and a lot of them, at least the ones that I've seen, really have notes of horror and horror genre stuff. Yeah, if it's cool, I'm going to go ahead and start, popping up some images.
Mm-hmm.
If you could, just kind of, we could just, chat about them.
Yeah.
And see what the inspiration and how you approached them.
So, this is like a double pour resin Swamp Thing Kit Bash.
Cool.
And this is basically a bootleg of two Kenner Swamp Thing toys from the 90s. Nice. And then it's just poured in multiple resin. And it has like magnetic articulation so that you can move the arms and stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's what you call like a bootleg toy. Nice.
So when you say magnetic articulation, they have magnets in the joints?
Yeah, they have like neodymium magnets. Like if you can see,
okay.
Yeah. A magnet.
Oh, that's smart.
And so it sticks in there so that you can, have articulation without having a peg, because a peg is gonna, might be in detriment of the structure of the resin.
Okay.
It's gonna expand and change over time. So the magnet is a pretty good option.
Yeah, it could break off or something.
Yeah, especially pegs. That's the Muck Marshman toy. Like, so I have this like career-long obsession. Like, we used to have HBO when I was a kid. Like, my stepdad had satellite,
Nice.
And one of the movies that came on was I have it in my stack here of classics. You know,
Oh,
the
nice.
80s, the 80s was a certain time where like they really understood the horror movie in a way that maybe um, we don't now necessarily. Where,
Right.
and I think that Swamp Thing is probably one of the best comic book movies. Well, the Return of Swamp Thing. It's much lauded, or not lauded. It's people hate it,
Yeah.
but I think it's fire. But it
I
was
love
like a
it.
movie we recorded off of HBO, and it like kind of it shaped, you know, my love for the Alan Moore comics and my love for the new Ram V comic.
Right.
But I made this toy. It's a soft vinyl toy. It's the
Oh, God,
Marchman
that's
toy.
cool.
This is the OG one. Like I've made 8 or 9 colors since then. I
Yeah.
have like a really bright one. I have Tiffany blue, yellow, you
Ah,
know, multicast marble swirl, glitter ones. They're all very crazy, you know. So
well,
um
when you're doing that, do you just introduce like the colors into the casting, or are you painting them?
all of this, because this is sofubi, this is soft vinyl.
Oh, okay.
This is produced in Asia.
Oh, I
Some
see.
of it is produced in Hong Kong, and some of it is produced in Japan. And the factory, I'll ask them, hey, give me that blank vinyl. That this is kind of like an avocado green,
Okay.
maybe lime-ish.
Yeah.
I give them a Pantone color, and then they match the Pantone, and you know they'll send me 50 of them, and then I'll paint them.
Oh, cool.
You know, but they all come from like the process is like it's all originally here's the original bust,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the toy.
Nice.
So this will get I'll make a bust of this. This is the original sculpt. Then I'll cast it in resin. This is a semi-rigid resin of the thing. Then
Okay.
I send the thing to this piece, the pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and the factory sends me back this. And
Nice.
it's all like a hollow kind of plastisol, plastic PVC, soft fubi, soft vinyl.
Okay.
And it shrinks about 3%, if you can tell. But
Oh,
you
okay.
know, that's the toy process I use most now. Is like I have my toys made in other places. You know,
That's so cool. Um, yeah. Can you talk to us about the Grim Reaper here? I
this
love
is
the rainbow colors.
so Travis Egedy. He was a graduate of REMCAD and a big part of Rhinoceropolis. He's in a music group called Picture Plane.
I
He's a
remember
producer.
Bitcoin.
Right, yeah. He has a clothing company called Alien Body, and during
Cool.
the pandemic, when we were allowed to travel again, Travis came and saw me, and he was like in my studio walking around, and we were talking, and he had mentioned he wanted to make a toy, and I was like, dude, for you, easy. And so
Yeah.
like I think we kit bashed this together. It's like it's all kinds of different pieces from toys. Like it's got GI Joe hands and a face from
Sweet.
this weird toy brand I can't even remember, and then like pieces of Emperor Palpatine and an Imperial Guard, and like a lot of sculpting as
Cool.
well. And this is just like a resin that a quick setting resin that then had a bunch of like pieces of miscasts and stuff that were put in the mold, and then it was cast so that it has this like weird thing going on. But this is the raw vision toy from Alien Body. And I
Okay.
mean, this project was insane because it like sold out instantly. Like there was no like with any of my other projects, I had never experienced that before, where like people had contacted me for a month wanting these things, you know. And I was
Yeah.
like, sorry, like we only made 40 of the original run and maybe 20 of these kind of the weird ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like insane that, you know, it was just an insane successful project.
Wow. This
Yeah.
is so cool. I love the look, and yeah, it's got just such a unique, flavor to it. Yeah, that's cool.
Super weird.
I can see why it's, so popular.
Yeah, I mean, too, like I mean, I think too because Travis is like a Picture Plane is this like world, you know, worked with Alice Glass and Health, and you
Right.
know, recorded in Trent Reznor's studio, and like very much like world renowned, I remember once, like, he was like, come to the bar with my friend and I. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. And I show up there and it's his friend Claire, who then I find out is Grimes. And
Ah,
like Grimes, we were all in Denver getting drunk at the whiskey bar somewhere downtown.
yeah,
And like Grimes, bought me a bunch of drinks and we talked about like manga,
cool.
and my friends were so bored and felt alienated and pissed because like Grimes wanted to talk to me about manga, and they were like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, well, too bad for you, bro.
No, that's so awesome. That's fun.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was
god, that's
cool.
cool.
But
That's so cool.
that's Travis, man. He's hooked up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Travis, yeah, might have had a studio. Shoot, what was the place by the train tracks on the?
There was yeah, the
Is that
wine
big?
coop.
The one? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they had like a big thing. I remember that the lead singer from this band from high school called Dr. No, his name was Josh something. He had a studio in there. Buddy had a studio in there. Melvin Croissant the third had a studio in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There, again, kind of a bygone era where like the Rhino district really was cool and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we used to go down there off of Bruce Randolph and shit, like you wouldn't
yeah,
want to be, now you see like white girls running at night. Back in the day, I mean, the
you do
stories I
not-
have from Rhinoceropolis are insane.
yeah,
Like the things I saw, like the things that, like, I remember at one point I would do door at some shows because they would get so crazy,
yeah.
like they'd be like, hey, dude, get the door, and I'd be like, what do you mean, to take money? And they're like, just make sure that like crazy stuff doesn't happen,
Ooh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was raw.
yeah.
It was raw, dude. It was tight.
I used to hear stories, of what would transpire at Rhinoceropolis next door. I remember hearing that the OCs came through and performed, and I think at Glob, this was after I moved out. John Gulter, we coordinated a show where the ceiling was bleeding, and it was fun. So we did our OFM thing. I think we had a friend that came through and did like some bloodletting bondage stuff. That was a little much for me. I was just like,
Yeah.
biohazard. That's creepy.
I remember a dude like crucified himself like at a show at Rhinoceropolis on some like, I just was like, this is like, why,
Right.
But I look back on that now, like I look back on, things like Colin Ward and Kat playing in Sex Therapy, and at the time I just was like, this is some of the crazy shit I've ever seen. And now there's like this place in my heart where, and my spirit, where like all of that stuff lives, and it kind of inspires me to, because at the time it just was like Saturday, or not even a Saturday, a Thursday night,
Right.
It's the hot shit on a Wednesday,
Yep.
So
Yep.
like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's so awesome. And I love that, having experienced all that, and you're going through and making cool toys. Yeah, I think that this is like, this guy is just kind of a
Oh, yeah.
more of the same.
I have one right here.
Nice. Let me take that off real quick. Oh, cool.
It's really hard to see, but it's hot pink and hot orange, and
Yeah.
this is like called power bait. Because
And
my dad would use this same kind of color power bait to fish for trout. It was disgusting. It was like the most disgusting fishing stuff, but
nice.
that's what that's inspired by, but it's just the same toy. It's just a different cast, but that's just the slush cast. It's just two different colors of soft vinyl mixed together and poured. and it cures like that,
Nice. It yeah, and then you've also got some with
Oh
like
yeah, the
too.
Swamp Thing bootleg. Yeah, that's like that pink and blue one that had like a hollow cover on it and shit.
Right.
I released that toy. Yeah,
Man,
that
that's
was like when we were working at the print shop printing everybody's comics.
oh, cool.
You know.
That's awesome. And didn't you put out like a T-shirt of this design or something?
I got this T-shirt. It's like a different design.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, dude, I bootleg Swamp Thing so many times. I kind of had to tell myself to stop.
So is like Swamp Thing your go-to horror comic character?
As far as comics go, it's probably the Max and Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
As far as
the
like
Max.
you can get one of those on bobmasterclass.com. But yeah,
Nice.
But I like Swamp Thing just because it's weird and it's like an avatar homunculus of a plant that used to believe. I mean, it understands what it is now, but it used to think it was a man.
Right.
Alan Moore wrote it, right? And that there's kind of like a weird idea of like the idea that there would be like a plant that believed itself a man, but also had all of those emotions and conviction.
Yeah.
Of like the guilt of being a man and kind of the throes of love with a person and trying to protect and deal with the way the world was changing, and one of the best ones is like when Batman fights Swamp Thing and Batman kills him, and it's just like, it's basically like such a good kind of analog for what kind of person Batman is. It's like Batman is not a good dude. Like everybody loves Batman, but Batman's just running around beating up like
homeless people and people that are disadvantaged by comparison.
Yeah. It's just like
he's his own worst villains.
Yeah. And I mean, Swamp Thing doesn't, he just kind of floats around. He hangs out with John Constantine once in a while,
Yep.
And it's just like a thing where like I think a lot of people like Marvel comics the most, and I enjoy Spider-Man and the X-Men. I love the X-Men.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the organic thing that happens with Swamp Thing. And I mean, too, there are a bunch of indie comics that I've been really connected to, but I mean, not things that like are really part of my creative understanding. Besides X-Men, like that's you can't. There's not a kid that grew up in the '90s,
right,
that doesn't love the X-Men. And if you don't, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think growing up, like my characters were Batman, Swamp Thing, X-Men, and the Hulk.
Yeah,
that was a good meal for me.
And the Hulk has stayed good for years. It's not like
yeah,
a lot of these other ones. The Hulk is like an interesting book that usually is shown quite a bit of respect, which is funny considering but I know that Barry Windsor Smith just came out with Monsters, which was originally supposed to be a Hulk story. Okay, and you could see a lot of the Hulk in it. Nice. But Marvel didn't bite, so he spent 30 years finishing it, and it's just a really it's very sad, and but it's very much a Hulk book. It's just not the Hulk.
Well, like for me, I think some of the beauty of like Swamp Thing and something like the Hulk too is the sadness, that comes along with it. Swamp Thing always kind of had a bit of a gothic horror element, like a gothic romance, especially with Abigail Arcane. It in particular, I think when you saw Bernie Wrightson illustrating a little bit, that even prior to Alan Moore, taking it over and stuff, and then it was just for me it was just became more of a drug when Alan Moore took it over. But I didn't find that until I think I was in art school.
It's been pretty good. I mean, it's been a pretty good book for the whole run of it all. Like
right.
The Neil Gaiman Mike Mignola mini, you know, like when Ram V is currently writing it, and it's pretty
amazing.
damn good right now. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I think Scott Snyder did a run with
yeah,
Patrick.
I'm not as big into that one.
That I enjoyed that one because of the big massive scope of it. You know,
Yeah,
it's
all
like
the new 52 shit though. I just was like, DC, stop! Like
yeah,
you got
yeah.
you know, 14 Batman books. We got a
Right,
dude named Batwing. Like,
right.
come on, you know, like this is too much. This is like, you know, it just always, you know, I liked when like I liked the stuff with Swamp Thing and Animal Man when
Yeah.
Chuck was writing it. I like Doom Patrol.
Oh, Doom
Huge
Patrol's
Patrol
awesome.
fan, you know, all those kind of weird books. But I think that was like where I sat with comics was like I didn't like the name brand, you know, and maybe why I kind of was so attracted to like the indie. You know, I didn't ever want to draw mainstream comics. I never have.
Yeah,
I'd never have kind of wanted to be like I've always kind of been a DIY person at heart, and I've always just wanted to do things myself and have some kind of renaissance within my processes. And you know, and I think that was what Denver Drink and Draw and Dink and the indie scene always had for me was like I could be like this stuff isn't perfect, but it understands that. It understands that these
yeah,
people are I can support people on a level that is meaningful and and has impact, and I can see that, you know, and talk to the people, and that's the same with the toy scene as well as far as the small independent scene.
right. With your comic book work with Peaceways,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, tell us a little bit more about your inspiration on that. You know, where did that come from, and yeah,
I think it was because there were these women that drink and draw that were kind of floating around, and they they were like in a couple,
okay,
and I was like, "Y'all seen Dirty Dancing?" And they were like, "No, gross." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "You know, I'm not into that. I'm not, you know." And one was really anti Dirty Dancing, and the other one was like,
oh,
"Dirty Dancing's tight," you know.
yeah,
But they were in a couple, and you know, one lady was pissed, and the other one was like, "You know, Patrick Swayze's tight." And I was like, "Hell yeah, Patrick Swayze's tight," you know, like
yeah, that's awesome.
you know, like this is like, you know, Patrick Swayze is not your enemy, you know. And
Yeah.
so like we started talking about it, and like you know, somehow the term for Patrick Swayze was Peace Ways, you know. And
Oh,
then I was just talking about like pumping up Patrick Swayze just like to these chicks, just like, you know, who were totally not into Patrick Swayze though, but I was like trying to sell it to him, trolling. And
okay.
then Scorpio still was like, "Hey Neil, you should probably like maybe draw like a comic about Peaceways, you know." And I was like, "Tight, Scorp, I'll do that shit." So
That
like,
is the best
I
Scorpio impersonation.
yeah, right, Scorpio still. But then you know, what's Brian, you work with Dink, Brian Peppard, Essig Peppard. He said
Oh,
about Peaceways is proof that anybody can make a comic book, which
right.
I
Okay.
mean, I take it as that, but too, like, it's not like I haven't been drawing my whole fucking life. Like,
Yeah.
you know. But I just wrote Peaceways talking to my phone and drew the thing in a month. And then, like, people were like, "This is tight," you know? I think I gave it to Lonnie, and Lonnie edited it a little bit
Oh,
just to make
cool.
sure it wasn't
Love
like,
Lonnie.
you know. And then shout out Lonnie. And then, you know, I've done like 3 of them. I'm working on the 4th one, you know, but you know, nobody's on my ass to make Peaceways. Peaceways is simply for people like you. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna be, you know, it's simply for my friends because it's like a funny thing that kind of that celebrates this person that's no longer with us. That's like
Right.
who was actually a really important person, you know, as far as like art goes. And I
Yeah.
think, you know, he as a person and as a man, you know, was kind of the antithesis of he wasn't Rambo, you
No.
know. But two, he ripped a motherfucker's throat out in Roadhouse, you know.
Yep, I remember that.
But two ladies loved him, so there's always this like weird juxtaposition with Patrick Swayze and what that comic is, and you know, he's the straight man in all of these really weird situations, and you know, I was able to, you know, working at a print shop at the time, I was able to print fucking crazy things, and like nobody could stop me. There was no like wall or barrier. I'm gonna make these things, and my print guy would be like, okay, like, you know.
Cool. That's so cool. Have you ever thought about doing like a collectible of Peaceways?
I have. I wanted to do like a soft vinyl, you know, but like, how would I sell that? Like, I would have like this very small select group of people that, you know, but maybe someday, you know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe give him just a super awesome weapon or something.
Yeah, dude. Dude, he always has a flaming ninja sword and some sunglasses, dude, and a fanny pack.
I'd buy it. The fanny pack is a plus.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I saw a lot of like during COVID, I saw a lot of Shreddus mullets coming up, and then like the mullet is fly again, and dudes are rocking the fanny pack, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of them are unkempt and need to be cut.
That's awesome. Oh, Bill's chiming in. He loves Hulk.
I love Hulk as well, Bill.
And he's really likes how you use the word tight. So right. Yeah. Thanks, Bill. So we were talking about like Patrick Swayze, and obviously some of his most influential movies, at least up until like Point Break, which was like I think 91.
Catherine Bigelow, who directed Near Dark, bro.
Near Dark is probably my second favorite vampire movie. Just behind
Interview, bro. Interview.
That's more like a fourth or fifth one. I love Interview, but I have a hard time getting into Anne Rice. That was my entry point, was that film.
Too much like Frilly Collars. What's your favorite one though? Number one?
Let the Right One In.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was just a wonderful character piece.
Yeah, Ellie and the kid, what's his name? Oliver or whatever.
Oliver, yeah. Ollie.
The eunuch child vampire.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, and having to, also like witnessing what your life is going to be when you're an old man, as her original familiar is, having to do all that horrible shit for her, and then basically enter into like this social contract of like, okay, I'm going to go off and live with you and help you and protect you. And then, but eventually that's kind of what that cycle is going to be like.
It's a super dark movie, dude.
Yeah. And then, Near Dark is fantastic. Just down and dirty vampires.
Yeah. Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Didn't she do Wayne's World? No,
that was Penelope Spheris.
There you go.
Good stuff. Yeah.
At least I ask. I didn't say, oh, she did Wayne's World.
Right. But like, with all things, 80s too, we were talking, before we went live about the movie The Keep. And I finally just saw it like about a year ago, I think, before it went off of Amazon Prime. But that's one of your favorites.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think people like really adhere to this idea of vaporwave. Like people will be like, oh, vaporwave, like fucking vaporwave. If you haven't, like, The Keep is the fucking grandfather of vaporwave. Like it has a Tangerine Dream soundtrack, fucking lasers everywhere. They're all purple, blue, and pink. And you have an ancient vampire. That's probably my favorite vampire movie. You have an ancient vampire named Molasar who's put into like this Bulgarian keep, and then these Nazis come
Yeah.
They break out this crucifix that's holding him in. He busts out. He starts fucking killing all the Nazis. You have a Nazi killing vampire. And then this angel is sent. He's like an immortal angel. He's sent to go put Molasar back in the keep. And it's got a great cast. It's just sick. Michael Mann, but Michael Mann wasn't happy with it, and I think that there was a lot of meddling with the studio. It was supposed to be like a 3-hour movie, and they cut a lot of it out. And the masters were destroyed somehow. You can't. It's not printed. They don't have it on Blu-ray. You can get like a laser disc transfer of it. That's not very good. You can get it digitally, but it's just like one of those things. It's like I'm hoping that there's like a Nightbreed situation where you have like the masters found somehow and you can restore it. Like they just printed the Nightbreed director's cut that has all of the extra stuff in it, and it makes the story a lot better. But it's just like one of those things that like. Michael Mann made all of these brilliant movies in the 80s, and he happened to make a really brilliant horror movie. If you can get over certain things, I think certain people, like, I know that there was a dude who shit on it a little bit on this group I'm in and on Facebook, and I just ripped his ass. He was all sad, like, oh, well, you're a little sensitive. And I was just like, dude, like, you're spoon-fed. You don't have to work for anything. You're spoon-fed these superhero movies, and then you shit on this like kind of iconic, brilliant movie.
Yeah.
That has all of these things. You just have to use your imagination, put certain pieces together for what's going on, and watch a movie more than once.
Right. There's been many occasions where I'll sit there and watch a movie and I think it is the dumbest piece of shit. And then, something gets underneath the skin or something. It's like, okay, why is this movie sticking with me? There's something else here. And so I'll revisit it and I'm just like, holy crap. I think my first inclination or my first perception is completely off. And, then I have to sit there and just kind of analyze and dwell on it and think on it. And it's like, this is great. If a piece of art, can bring me back, even after I've written it off. And sometimes it's also like the company I keep too. Like initially, what was it? Hereditary.
I can't handle that. Is not my kind of fucking horror movie.
Okay. No.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no worries.
No Shining. Don't give me The Shining. Don't give me Hostel. Yeah. I don't want to see,
Yeah.
I don't want to see it,
my take on that initially was, wow, this is just dumb. This is nothing how, any of the things that transpires in it, would play out in real life due to consequences and involving the police. And then I started having nightmares about it. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here. So I had to revisit it, and I came away with a different perspective. It's like, okay, maybe the rules that I think of don't really apply here for that. And that's just my take on that. But
I thought, I watched it. I was impressed, but also it didn't give me the feels I wanted. Like, okay. I don't want to, I like monster movies. I like that's my shit. I don't want to
I love monster movies.
A lot of Dario Argento movies are like overly political with like killing women and things like that, and like how everything's done. Like, and that becomes a little much for me. But I do love Phenomenon. Like, I love that movie, right? Yeah. Because it's got this like little zombie kid running around killing girls at a girls' school. That shit's tight, but it has a monster in it, and a girl who can talk to insects. That's tight to me. But I can't handle like demonic, don't have a family, allegory. Like, like, this is what you get when you have a family. That was like Hereditary to me, with Tony Collette sawing her own neck off in the fucking
Right.
attic. I'm like, dude, this is too much, you know. And then he came out with Midsommar, which is like a movie that you take a girl to if you want to break up with her. That's that movie.
Right. I enjoyed that film, but it's one of those that I can only watch once.
Yeah, you can do it once. I'll watch anything once, but it's you know, that's not a rewatcher. I'm not gonna buy that movie.
No, correct. I'm in the same league when it comes to that.
It was like a Requiem for a Dream. Like, it's one of those. It's like you know, is your life too good? Watch this movie.
Yeah. If you don't hate, if you don't hate yourself after that, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, and I mean, horror, like, you know, look at Beetlejuice. You know, like, Beetlejuice is a horror movie.
It is.
At its heart, it's a horror movie. It's like The Monsters or some shit like that. But Beetlejuice is a good movie. It's a good horror movie.
Well, it's also like the nice thing about horror, I think, is it's one of those genres that, you know, can be bridged by any type of mode, whether it's, you know, comedy or drama or just this massive mixture.
It's forgiving. It's very forgiving.
It is.
I think it too, like, you know, we all the people who love horror kind of understand that horror is like a therapeutic thing. Like, it's you know, we're trying to get past the animal fear, the fear of the unknown, like monsters and metaphysical things and spiritual things, and that can all be accessed and kind of dealt with through, you know, listening to the ghost story around the campfire. But too, then humor is like, you know, most of the best horror movies have humor in them.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to like that genre, horror, it's the horror comedy that always makes it for me. Whether it's the Abbott Costello, the Beetlejuice, you know, even American Werewolf in London.
Dale and Tucker versus, what is it? Dale and
Tucker. Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Shit's so good.
Burke and Hare.
Big Trouble in Little China, bro.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that stuff too. Yeah, it's
so good.
And something like Big Trouble in Little China, I mean, it blends all kinds of different genres. The kung fu films.
I was recently watching what was it? A Chinese ghost story. I think that's it.
Okay.
And I was like really stunned by how much of that was in Big Trouble in Little China. And like, you know, even though like Big Trouble in Little China just bombed at the box office, like, such a brilliant movie.
Yeah, and with that too, like so many horror films, you know, good, bad, you know, however they come out, you know, and however they're initially received, so many of them stand the test of time. Whereas if you go to a different genre, you know, like you've got the indie drama darlings that win the awards at award season and everything.
Garden State.
Yeah, who talks about that one?
Nobody.
Yeah,
no. Go to a convention, all like.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that when it came out, and I saw it back then, and it's like, yeah, it was okay. But have you seen House? Have you seen, you know, Nightbreed? Have you seen Hellraiser? It's like these things.
Hellraiser's too much for me, man. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you will fucking the bliss of agony internally. I love it, or whatever he said. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, like. I've read what did I read? That Clive Barker book where
the Hellbound Heart that was based off of?
No, it was but it was with the detective guy. But I love Lord of Illusion, but I don't like Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Right? But you know, I read the last one with the boat, and they talk. The detective is like in the underworld. They're like sailing across the boat within the seas of blood, and I
Yeah,
was just like, this is just a lot. I can't remember what that's called though, but I've read a
I can't
couple.
remember it either.
There was a Hollywood movie, Clive Barker. He's really interesting. I really like Cabal, which is the book.
Yep, that Nightbreed's based off of.
Yeah, I like that, but to the whole weird violent sexual BDSM fantasy shit, I'm just like, bro, like
Yeah,
this is not my bag, my guy.
yeah, it's well, that's what I like about Nightbreed. Like, I love Hellraiser, but I think Nightbreed's my favorite Clive Barker film because it's world building. It's
Yeah.
creating this subterranean existence of monsters, but it's also an allegory for racism and yeah, as well.
And homies, like it's like where your people are, like
Yeah,
Midian is the place where the monsters live, like,
yeah,
and it had the Danny Elfman soundtrack,
yeah.
right? And like great actors, and
Mm-hmm.
you got David Cronenberg as the
Right.
fucking the bad guy, and
Yeah.
and it was a film that was essentially about friendship and family, and
Mm-hmm.
like it was fun. It was like high fantasy horror,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I feel like we as now, because we understand these things and times have changed, it's not the 80s anymore. Like we can appreciate these things that maybe people didn't understand at the time.
Right.
I mean, I love that movie. That's
Yeah.
like top 5 for me.
Oh, cool. Cool. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Neil, we're about out of time, but it was an absolute pleasure, catching up with you and learning so much of, your creative process and all the art that you do and your great taste in films too. I love it.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man, for sure.
And for anybody interested in getting a hold of you, just go to Bombastic Plastic.
You can go to bombasticplastic.com. Hit me up on Twitter at Neelzer, GNEELZER, or you can just hit up Bombastic Plastic on Twitter as well. I haven't been using Instagram as much because Zuckerberg, but
Right.
yeah. I'm always around. I'm opinionated, but it was a pleasure, man. I can't wait to see what your festival has to like. I'll be there in
We
September, November. Let me know. I'll stop by.
Yeah, it's Colorado Festival of Horror is going to be year 2. It's going to be September 9th through the 11th. Yeah, definitely swing by. We should probably, see if we can do a panel, or we also have.
I would love. Yeah, man, hit me up. I'd love to be a part of that.
Cool.
Or just experience it. It's good to have cons. It's good to have people who believe in this stuff doing this stuff.
Yeah,
Symposiums are important for creative people, and
very much so.
that it seems like y'all are doing it, so that's sick, dude.
Yeah.
But
No,
thank you so much for inviting me to do it. It's an honor to be a part of this community and a part of the Denver thing that we have.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, Neil, hang around for a few minutes after we sign off. But again, thanks for coming on, and for everybody out there watching that are interested in following Neil, go to
Watch Crawl too. Watch Crawl.
Yes, Crawl is an amazing film. That's so much fun.
Watch Crawl.
yeah. Get a glimpse of Liam Neeson's very early days. Kind of those blink and you'll miss them. Parts. Oh man, well, cool. For everybody that tuned in, thanks so much for supporting us and learning more about everything that Neil's doing, and of course to our sponsors, to Mutiny Information Cafe. If you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated, and of course Hellfire Entertainment. Thanks for rebroadcasting us on your social media. Our friends at Mutiny TV. And of course, Alien.
R.I.P. Groovy, bro. One of the best in the fucking game ever. Yeah. R.I.P. Groovy, bro. One of the best.
Yeah, he's certainly is missed, but we carry on in his stead. And of course, Alien Donut Films to Angela and Bill over there. Thanks for putting up with my shit and my
Thank you, Angela.
and my producers, Stefan Santa Cruz and Man Armstrong. Thanks so much, guys. Looks like we got one last comment. Oh, let's see here. Gotta check it out. Sounds really dank. I think he's referring to Peaceways.
Oh, yeah. I think you can get a copy on BobMasterPlastic.com. Let me know.
Yeah, and hopefully you've got a lot of toys and collectibles available too there.
There are quite a few, yes. Give me your money!
Sweet. Jason says groovy. I think he's trying to spell groovy. Oh, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And for everybody out there, be good, be kind, help each other out during these tough times. And remember, we love you. Stay spooky.